the last 2 years, it's estimated that 16 million people in the US alone have decided to pick up a guitar for the first time, with similar trends showing up all across the globe.
And it makes sense. Guitars are wonderful things. Such wonderful things, in fact, that we named our stores after them. Twice.
For those just starting out, or the veterans who have toured the world with their instruments, there are little joys quite as rewarding as picking up a guitar and playing your favourite songs. For many, playing a guitar is a release. For a suspended moment in time, we can put everything around us to the back of our minds and get lost in a moment. So, with that in mind, most of the time, we aren't thinking about how a guitar came to be. Not just how that one guitar in our hands was constructed, but every small detail and process that has been put into place to turn a tree grown from the ground into a stringed instrument that we can lose ourselves in. After all, with such a huge surge of players over the last few years, where are all of these guitars coming from?
Taylor guitars are one of the most popular guitar brands in the world. Founded almost 50 years ago, Taylor have slowly but surely developed themselves into an almost entirely self-contained guitar brand, from ethically sourcing their own woods to the guitars you see on the wall behind me.
This is Bob Taylor, the man whose name is on the headstock.
There's no companies that make as many as we do unless they're really inexpensive. We've made at the peak of COVID, when the craze was just insatiable, we were making 1,000 guitars a day.
One of Taylor's greatest strengths is their ability to output a huge quantity of guitars on a daily basis whilst maintaining a high standard of quality. Taylor's guitars are the first choice of some of the world's biggest artists, and the brand is known for setting an unbelievably high bar with the sound and feel of their guitars. With a product line that ranges from guitars designed for beginners all the way to high-end premium showpieces, it might be a surprise to you that all of their products are manufactured in just 2 different factories, 45 minutes apart. So, how do Taylor guitars make 1,000 great guitars in a day? To understand how Taylor makes guitars today, we first need to take a look back at how it all started.
Well, I'm Bob Taylor, and I'm co-founder of Taylor Guitars.
Bob first founded Taylor around 1974 with his partner Kurt Listig. The company started when Bob and Kurt decided to purchase the guitar shop they worked in and create their own brand. At first, Taylor started out small, with Bob making a handful of guitars and Kurt driving them around the USA to get them into stores and dealers' hands. Even then, Taylor guitars were recognised for a modern take on the concept of an acoustic guitar, and as their popularity grew, so did their production. Bob understood very early on in Taylor's journey that to make a large quantity of quality guitars to keep up with their ever-growing demand, he needed to tailor the process to his designs.
Within the first 6 months, 3 months of me building guitars, I started making tools, and then I developed a work habit of I'd work a day making my guitars, and I'd work another day after that one, second shift, I would start building tools. That's never stopped for almost 50 years, it's never stopped.
This template for building guitars would go on to shape many of the fundamental aspects of Taylor as the business it is today. Bob has always had the vision to take matters into his own hands when it comes to guitar building, a point that shines through almost 50 years later. Just as Bob once streamlined his process by creating custom tools, Taylor's factories are equipped with a vast array of machinery, robots and technology which can vastly cut down production time without compromising any of the quality you'd expect from a well-built guitar.
And yes, you heard that right. Robots.
A robot is 6 motors and encoders that move something around in space. Who wouldn't want that?
You know, our machines are a big giant Etch-a-Sketch. That's what they are. You know, you ever draw a circle with an Etch-a-Sketch? Well, if you put a computer on it, you can draw a perfect circle. When you first start out with something like computerized mills like we use, or any type of robotics, you basically use those to mimic anything that you did by hand.
Any woodworker on the planet would love to have a robot in the shop. It's a manipulator that can repeatedly put something in the same place over and over. They're a dream that way for manufacturing.
Taylor's process focuses on using the machinery they have available to them to create the actions and movements that would be commonly carried out by a human in a more safe and consistent way. All of the steps that require intricacy in the production of a guitar can be carried out to perfect margins every time. Of course, automated processes only supplement the quantity of guitars Taylor can make. As Bob pointed out, the tools at their disposal are giant etch-a-sketches. Ultimately, every movement of the dial is determined by ones and zeros inputted by a human being. To create art, you still need an artist.
This one's kind of a half-formed thought still.
First time we ever met, Andy was 17, and I was sitting in front of him at a concert. He was with his dad behind me, and they introduced themselves. And then we met again 11 years later, something like that, when he was playing guitar for Jason Mraz at a NAMM show. But I'd made sort of a list years before that, like maybe 4 years before that, of qualifications of somebody that could be the person to take over, so to speak. It was an impossible list. Had to be a self-taught guitar builder, had to know the history of guitars, had to be a good person, make a lifelong commitment, had to be from San Diego, you know. And I actually wrote this down, 20 years of experience, less than 30 years old, right? A couple of weeks later, I was just sitting at the light and I thought of Andy. I knew enough about him then, and it was like, check, 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 check. That's the guy. He meets all the qualifications, so I called him up.
Get this call from Bob out of the blue. He's like, hey, I want you to come down here. Come alone. Like, he's gonna push me into the wood chipper. I know it. I don't know what I did to irritate him, but this is gonna be bad. And so we sit down and he's like, so can you name a guitar maker at any guitar making company?
I'm like, can you name the guitar maker at this company? No. That company? No. That company? No.
No, because they don't do that. That's not their thing.
And then you name something at PRS. Oh, Paul, you know, yeah. Bill Collings, you know, you say, you know, that kind of thing. And I go, can you name the one at Taylor? Yeah, you, Larry Breedlove, you're a team. You're the guitar makers. I know who the guitar maker is. And I go, well, I don't ever want us to not have a guitar maker. I don't want us to have a guitar by marketing department.
I mean, the chief goal with a guitar is you want something that feels good to play, to hold, to inspire your next song, to draw something out of a musician. I mean, there's a lot of guitars that already exist, a lot of good ones that already exist, right? We want to make something that feels like an inspiration when a person picks it up. And that comes from the hands of a maker, that comes from a workshop, that comes from a piece of wood that makes you think a little different. You know, it draws something out of you as you build it and you go, wow, let's make a new sound, let's make a new flavor, let's make a new kind of a thing that isn't weird, that understands the history of where we've collectively been as a community of guitar players, but that gives us a fresh dose of inspiration.
That's something we understood innately without even discussing it amongst ourselves.
Taylor has always strived to create the best instruments they possibly could. Once Andy Powers joined the company, however, the sky became the limit with what they could make.
And you know, Andy spent his 10,000 hours, you know, we're all talking about the 10,000 hours you need to do. He spent his 10,000 hours learning how to use a chisel. I spent my 10,000 hours learning how to eliminate a chisel, you know?
Right.
And so together we have those skills, you know? And so you've just got to be clever. You either have to change the design and say it's too complex to build. Actually right now we build designs that are so complex you really can't do them by hand.
By using the tools they have at their disposal, Taylor hasn't just innovated the process of making guitars. They have used the process to innovate the guitars they build. Through Bob's experience of industrializing the manufacturing process of guitar building and Andy's outstanding knowledge of how to make incredible guitars, They've ensured that the guitars they build aren't just thrown down a production line to meet number quotas.
These guitars have been carefully designed to tick every box they need to for the player, whilst also redefining the quality and standards of the acoustic guitar world.
As we previously mentioned, Taylor has 2 factories. Their facility in Tecate, Mexico focuses more on lower cost laminate wood guitars like Taylor's entry-level Academy series and the world-renowned GS Mini. We spent some time in the USA factory in El Cajon, California, where Taylor's premium solid timber guitars are made. Both factories are equipped with state-of-the-art technology and follow similar processes in how the guitars are manufactured. With that alone, Taylor are able to build a lot of guitars. As we explored the El Cajon facility, one thing that became apparent to us was just how well oiled every part of the procedure was. For example, bodies and necks are manufactured separately and later assembled. This is possible due to Taylor's innovative neck join design.
In the 90s, I was training everyone in assembly, how to glue necks on, do their bridges, sand out, inlay, fret. Having to set the angles by hand and missing it means we're taking it apart. The way our manufacturing worked, we had to heat up the fingerboard, take it off, reset the neck, and reglue it. We did do that if we missed it on Friday. We did it if we missed it on Thursday. On Friday, we're redoing it. We didn't just compromise because our processes didn't allow it. I still remember Bob Taylor telling me something once, and it has stuck to me to this day, stuck with me. Rob, there will be a day you don't have to teach anybody how to fret anymore. And I was like, I am ready for that day. And that was the NT neck joint. And it started, 98, 99. So I had already been training for almost 10 years. And then going into 2000 and forward, it became, the NT neck joint. So to me, well, NT, it's the Taylor neck now. It's been obviously many years. So the neck joint, this is what is so nice about this. It really is what I would consider to be more an electric guitar neck. So the whole shaft of the neck, all the way down. And then we attach the heel. From that, we have a shim that's under here, and we have a shim that's here. And it's a sister set of shims that allows us to adjust, and they adjust within 0.02 of an inch. So with that, we just set the neck on, we bolt it, we look at it, and we go, oh, this angle's a little bit low, what's in it? We take it off, oh, it has a +8. This looks like it needs to come up 3 shims. Okay, let's go up. We look at it, this is perfect now. It's that easy.
Through smart design, Taylor has not only made the process of assembling their guitars more efficient, but also functionally improved the performance and sound of their guitars whilst redefining what aftercare entails with an acoustic guitar. These are intricacies that we see all across their factory. Small details that allow the production of a Taylor guitar to not just be efficient, but also worthwhile improvements on the classic blueprint of an acoustic guitar.
From assembly to the store wall, from the bedroom to the stage, every aspect of a Taylor guitar has been consistently and constantly improved on so that guitarists like you and I can focus on what matters most: playing.
What we're doing is surfacing that wood. So one of the great things about these machines is that we can get them sanded or planed to a very controlled thickness. And that's going to be really important because with each species of wood, we want to make sure that everything is optimized per tone. So each type of wood we use is going to have its own specifications for thickness. So in addition to the cutting work that we do, we will also, at the same time we're cutting a top, for example, we'll etch an outline of where the bridge is going to go with a registration mark.
As you pass different checkpoints in the factory, you see that choices have been made at every turn to make another step later down the line more efficient. The efficiency doesn't just improve Taylor's output either. By using precise measurements and being smart about the way they do things, Taylor can also economize on the amount of materials they use and the materials they waste.
The efficiencies aspect of it is super important. It's something that Bob learned early on, and even before people were talking about sustainability, it really kind of, for him, it started with efficiency and reducing waste.
There's a huge amount to be said about Taylor's efforts in sustainability, which we simply won't be able to cover in this video. So we'll save that for another time. What you do need to know right now is that Taylor directly sources a huge amount of wood that they use to make guitars. By doing so, Taylor has complete control in where their wood has come from, the quality of the wood they use, and they can also predict what they will have an abundance of to make guitars with in the future.
There is never any doubt in any aspect of the manufacturing process here, and that is incredibly important when you take into account just how many materials Taylor needs to produce such a huge range of models and specifications that they offer.
To make as many guitars as Taylor does, it's also important to consider why it would even be necessary to build so many instruments. We've already touched on market demand. It also comes down to range. Taylor's product line is vast, covering an extensive list of tone woods, body shapes, and appointments. One of the biggest benefits of Taylor's state-of-the-art factories is their ability to build multiple variations of shapes and specifications with little fuss. With Andy taking the lead on new designs and ideas, every Taylor model is first birthed through prototyping, working out exactly how the guitar will run through the production line.
Our task is to industrialize the processes that Andy does on a workbench.
It's like for me, my approach as a kid was I want to build the very best instrument I could build, no expense spared, whatever it takes, using any method I could do to get the one guitar built. What I admire and what I appreciate is Bob would bring a level of kind of industrial artistry to a lot of things. And so when you look at the combination of those two things, it's no wonder why we're building the guitars that we build, because we're going to take a design that I make and go, all right, let's sit down and now work out. Here's the part. I'm never, ever going to teach a person to use a chisel the way I use a chisel, because you're going to get a million different results every single time. But this is what the part needs to be. Let's figure out a machine or a way to make this thing to put it together.
By designing their guitars through a focus on the tools that they have available to them, Taylor has opened up their product line to a huge list of possibilities when it comes to specification.
Once the design of a model is complete and Taylor are happy with it, it's simply a case of pressing go on the production. Thanks to modern technologies such as RFID scanning and Taylor's extensive database, every CNC machine, robot, laser cutter, and whatever else simply needs programming to determine how to behave when making a certain model. The rest is like clockwork.
With this all in place, Taylor can then focus their attention on ensuring that the quality of their guitars are perfect. Much less effort is spent retraining their workers every time a new product is conceived. It's simply a case of setting the standard of what makes a Taylor, and going from there.
Before we wrap this video up, there is one last part of all of this amazing feat that we have to mention. The people.
There is no doubt that Taylor's manufacturing process relies heavily on things like technology, automation, and clever design. That being said, there is one part of the guitar making process that you just cannot recreate with a computer: feel.
It's a natural instinct to assume that a company that relies so heavily on machinery to create their products also has a tendency to leave out humans like you and I in an effort to increase efficiency. Usually, this comes at the expense of a product feeling like it was made on a production line. But guitars aren't products like the smartphones, TVs, and computers you're likely watching this video on right now. They're instruments that people build lifelong bonds with. They're tools that people use to make a living. They are extensions of ourselves which we use to express emotions. And no machine is ever going to understand what that means. Along every step of the way, Taylor Guitars is a company that puts the people that work for them at the forefront of their business. Every single process is overseen, quality checked, and signed off by human beings. At many points, there are processes that literally cannot be done without a worker with experience carrying out the task.
We're focused on the playing experience, and that is big.
You know, we've always been that company who goes, we're going to do what we feel is right. And that's from Bob straight up.
And that that just goes along with the philosophy at Taylor that we want to be able to do things ourselves. And that can hold you back, but it's also very powerful, and it makes our job satisfying as well. And it makes things feel special here that we can say, okay, well, we did part of this ourselves.
From the tree all the way to you selling a guitar to a person who then goes out and plays and makes a little money, or makes money to provide the money so that they can use their leisure time to play, and it all comes back around. It's all really circular.
Yes, Bob, Andy, and everyone at Taylor Guitars spend a lot of time thinking about how to efficiently make lots and lots of guitars. Above all else though, Taylor's main priority is to make as many instruments as possible that people can fall in love with, rely on, and enjoy for as long as they see fit.
So to go back to the start and answer the question this video asks, how do Taylor make 1,000 great guitars in a day? Well, through innovations in design, state-of-the-art machinery and tools, and efficient thinking. All that being said, maybe we shouldn't be asking how. Maybe we should be asking why.
It's a big question, and ultimately it comes down to our opening remarks. Guitars are wonderful things. As long as there is music in the world, there will always be people who want to play and perform.
Taylor Guitars understands the connection between people and their instruments. From top to bottom, it is a company full of people dedicated to their craft with ambitions to improve and innovate on what makes a guitar wonderful. For that, we, the guitarists of the world, are grateful. And for whatever that's worth, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
We'd like to say a huge thank you to Taylor Guitars for allowing us to fly all the way to their doorstep and see how they make their guitars. As we already mentioned in this video, we'll be releasing more videos like this one about other elements of Taylor Guitars. So be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with that, the latest products, and more. Thanks for watching.